Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chart Request Live, the show where you pick the tickers and we do the charting. My name is Jason Kretzky. I'm going to be your host, and we are super lucky tonight to be joined by Rich from Trading Warz. Rich, my man, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. It's great to have you on. I assume that a lot of the people who are going to be tuning in tonight are familiar with you and your work, but for those who are not, can you give us a little rundown, a little background, your trading style, methodology, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, great. So I started trading 7 years ago. I'm a CPA by trade, and like most people, I came off very into the game. I really wanted to make money, and I ended up losing about $25,000 within my first year trading options primarily. Then I got into the futures game, which I was able to turn 5,000 into $80,000 and really recover. And it's only been recently in the last few years where I've rededicated myself to trading options a lot better than I did before, by actually having a system. And one of the key parts of this system is these indicators that I want to share with everyone. And, I created them with the idea that if I could have a simple process and go back in time, what would I do to make trading a lot easier? So I'm really happy and grateful today to just share this with you guys, also with some of my Fibonacci strategies, just to give the average trader a fighting chance in the stock market.
Awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to go through these names with you. We've got an hour here to look at as many names as we can get through. Before we get started, let's just go through the rules real quick for anybody who is just tuning in to the show for the first time. Every single symbol that we go through is going to be considered a round. Each round, you can vote for up to 3 symbols. You do have to pick 3 unique symbols. You cannot pick the same symbol 3 times. But if we don't get to the ticker that you choose or the ones that you're requesting, just keep on voting for the same ones, and hopefully we will get to it. So that's really it. Let's go ahead and get started here. We'd love to start this show with what's going on with SPY. So tell us what you're seeing here.
Great. Yeah, so the way that I generally do it, and kind of like a little bit of an introduction, is I have this little summary here from my book. It's also on my Twitter, of the patterns that I look for. So I have basically 5 patterns, and some of them are extremely rare and some of them are more common. So we have so this is a holy grail pattern, which is an outside and an inside bar. So just for reference, outside bars are in white, inside bars are in yellow. So this is one of my rare patterns. An outside bar, this is a common one. Double inside, this is a rare. Inside, common. Nirvana, which is the reverse of a holy grail, is a rare pattern as well. And all these patterns are doing is basically looking for consolidation. Like that's the whole game. I'm trying to find an opportunity where things are consolidating so that I can come in and make some money. So for SPY, I trade SPY every single day. It's one of the most liquid instruments to trade. It's by far good slippage, good liquidity, good spreads if you're trading options. So we trade these every day. So just to give an example of how we like to use these indicators, the 5-minute and the 15-minute chart for day trading are my go-to. And you can see that the yellow highlights are the holy grails. And for new traders, I really just say, hey, stick to the yellow highlights and the blue highlights, because those are the rare patterns, the holy grails and the nirvanas. And literally all we're doing here is just taking the breakout of the bar. So you could see we had 2 holy grails on the day. This one was a loser. It popped up a little bit, then faded. And then this one at the close was a nice winner. So I just like to keep it simple like that when trading these patterns. But for SPY in general, I've been really bullish. If we go to the weekly chart here, we had this outside bar. So these are the ones in white. That was about 2 weeks ago. And this is where I believe that would be a major bottom in the stock market. Just like we had a top with this outside bar here, I find that these outside bars are generally good pivots. And the reason why is because it breaks the low and the high of the previous week. And what that really does is traps bears and bulls. And generally the conclusion of that outside bar is a major pivot. And we could see it in the last bars that have been popping up on SPY on the weekly time frame. They've been significant. And I always trade these, and I post these on my Twitter for free setups for people because I find them really, really powerful. So personally for me, I've been long since the bottom here. And one of the ways that I do also look for entries is using Fibonacci extensions. So if I just take the Fibonacci from this high, oops, wrong one here. It's this one from the high to the low. So this 272 extension is generally where I see a lot of reversals. So we had this plus the outside bar. So I got long right here using futures contracts. I didn't take SPY, I took NQ because NQ is a little bit more aggressive. So I got NQ instead. But my overall view is definitely extremely bullish right now. And I'm already up a good bit of money, and I just have my stops at break even. So until this outside bar low is broken, I will continue to just be playing in the bullish direction for now.
Okay. Do you have upside targets, like ultimate upside targets for SPY?
So yes, definitely. So the next leg in the sequence here for the bears, if I just draw it up here, it would be the golden zone, which is going to be right from the 50 to the 786, this box here. So 421.30 is coming up soon, that 50. I do expect to see an attempt from the bears to try to hold that. But I think we're going to see something like a V where we pop up, come back down a little bit, make a little base, and then continue higher. But I will also be hedging up here, hedging my longs because that's just something to do to stay safe. If we got the lows here, I'm going to buy some puts up here to just protect my long-term portfolio as insurance.
So you think the lows are in for some time on SPY, huh?
Yeah, a few weeks ago I tweeted that. I think it's in because just like this outside bar here, I don't think that low is going to be taken out anytime soon. Well, for me, it's always like a risk to reward. So I knew that buying when this candle was initially red. So buying when this candle was red gave me a good deal for calls, and it gave me a good deal on the futures contract. So I knew giving it a shot, my max risk was like $5,000. So I'm risking $5,000 here to potentially make 100 grand if I start to build more contracts in this area and we actually make new all-time highs within a few years. So that's the risk to reward in my head. That's how I analyze it. And if we were to come back down, I would just get stopped out at break even, and I would just look to reload again. And I generally, anything long-term for me, more than 2 months is going to be on the bullish direction in SPY. And if I just go to the monthly here, this is exactly what I'm looking at. It's just from the COVID lows, we had this, 130% increase. So this pullback here for me is just a dip buying opportunity. But I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, that's totally fine. I'll get ready to reload again.
Got it. Okay, right on. Well, let's jump into the individual names here. We've got some votes coming in. So let's see what's up first. We've got Tesla is up first.
Great. All right, Tesla. Okay, so the way I like to do these is start off with the daily. So we have an outside bar close on Tesla today. So this will be one of my Lotto Friday picks for sure. And what I do is I just look at the past. So we could see the last outside bar we had was May 4th. And all I do is I play triggers. So I'll put in an area where I want to go long and an area where I want to go short. And I'll just go down to the 5-minute chart to find something that an area that I want to take a breakout. So for example, right around here, 791.40, that's where I'll look to get long if it breaks that level. And then down here around 733.23. And the way that I do that is just by looking at these wicks. That's how I determine where my trigger levels are going to be, because I know those wicks can have stop losses attached to them. And I'll be looking for that breakout. So nice. Yeah. So if Tesla did not have that outside bar right now on the daily, then I would just go to a lower time frame. So for example, let's go down to the hourly and see if there's any other patterns there that we could trade off of. So we have this Nirvana that was into the close. So if you want to get in a little bit earlier, you could actually just use this Nirvana pattern as your entry. So if it broke this wick long, if it broke this low here to the downside. But yeah, good pick, great pick. I've been trading Tesla a lot. You could see these arrows were the last calls that I gave out on Twitter. We got puts over here. This one was like 150%, and this one gave a little bit of a run and then turned around. So this was the last big play from my indicator.
Can we get just like a little bit more understanding about, I understand you're going long if price breaks above the high, you're going short if price breaks above the low, or price breaks below the low. What kind of time frame confirmation do you need? Do you just need price to get there? Simply that?
Yeah.
Do you need to see a certain candle to close? That you just need price to get there?
Yeah, so I don't wait for the high or low to break. I do something called front running where I get in before the high. So for example, let's say the high is 793. I'll get in a little bit earlier, sometimes even at 788, like right around here. And the reason is because I don't want to chase it into new highs. I want to be in new highs as they're forming because that's how you make the most money.
Right.
And I don't wait personally. I don't wait for a confirmation. I just take the break. It doesn't matter what time frame is. A lot of the times, I just do these trades fully automated. So I put them in the broker the night before, and they just do their own thing. So I don't have to look for a confirmation. I have my stop loss and my target already set and good to go.
Got it. And so if this is a Lotto Friday, presumably you're playing 0 DTE, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what contracts are you buying? Are you buying in the money, out of the money? How does that work?
One strike out of the money from the entry. So so it depends on how much you want to front run. So let's say you want to get in 788, then I would do the 790 calls. So
Okay.
just one strike out the money, nothing too far, especially on Lotto Friday. It's very dangerous, but also very rewarding.
Right. Okay, cool. Got it. Let's jump to the next one. It is the Qs.
Great. Yeah. So the Qs, the analysis is pretty much the same thing as SPY. So if we
Right.
go back to the weekly, so this is where I decided to get my long-term position. I actually got it on the Qs because I feel like the Qs, I could make more money than SPY just because it's a lot more volatile. So I am long on NQ, the futures contracts. And today I also identified that we had this double outside bar pattern on the Qs. That's a very rare pattern. If we look back in the past, we've had, one up here, and this was kind of like a big pivot in the market. That was January 3rd, 2022. So I'm not saying it's going to go down or up. What I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of potential volatility tomorrow. So again, I have the triggers. So long above, short below. There's also another strategy that I use. I like to use it on the index, which is the opening range breakout. So if I'll let the first 5-minute bar close and just take the break of that bar. So let's say we close here, I'll bracket that bar. If it breaks the high, I'll go long. If it breaks the low, I'll go short. So that's another way I get in a little bit earlier. And I generally do that with the index because the liquidity and the spread is a lot better than if you're trading single names.
Yeah. Are you, in order to get in after the first 5-minute bar, like an opening range break, are you looking at what's going on pre-market to make that decision, or does what's going on pre-market not matter?
No, I never look at pre-market because I find that there's no edge for me there. A lot of the times it's like confusing or misleading. I just trade regular trading hours. That's when the most volume is, and I just keep it clean as possible.
Okay, got it. All right. So again, on the Qs, we're generally bullish here. And the same type of idea as with Tesla, you've got that outside bar. So you're going long on the break to the upside of that outside bar today's.
Yeah, and I would for something like the Qs, I would even go down to like the 5-minute and just hit the orb in the morning. 5 and the 15-minute chart and just take that first opening range breakout. Like you could see today, 15-minute opening range breakout was a big winner. So just kind of try to position myself sometimes a little bit earlier than the break so that if it does like open in the middle and then it breaks up and it breaks the high, I'll already be in it from a way better price.
Got it. All right, let's keep moving. Next round. CMCSA, that's Comcast Corporation.
Yeah, so Comcast is one that I normally swing trade. I haven't traded it in a while. Personally here, just looking at this. So if we look here on the weekly, right now we don't have any of my patterns. So what I would do from there is pretty much take a fib, take it from the low. So the lowest point on the chart, bring it up to the high. This is, the way I do the fibs is just basically looking for those major pivots, right? And so you could see here, we came down close to the 786 and we've just been hovering around. So for me, like this is too choppy for me to trade, especially with this big bar that came on the 25th. And now we're still in that bar over here. That's telling me that we could just be back and forth for a while. So I will wait for a little bit more resolution on that. If I go to the monthly, we did have this Nirvana that was, it's still basically just chop. So looking at all of that on the monthly and the weekly, I would pass unless I see something on the daily, which I don't. So for me, Comcast would be a no trade right now.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, what's the importance for you of being able to decipher no trade? Like, I think that sometimes can be difficult for traders.
Yeah, for me, if I don't have a pattern, I can't trade it. That's my rule. And the reason is because I know I have an edge when there's a pattern. And if there's not a
Right.
pattern, then I'm basically just gambling. So like, for example, with an inside bar, so the yellow bar, generally after that bar, we have a breakout. Not all the time, but generally we do. So, we have bigger moves. So that's why I rather wait for that. With the outside bar, it's the same thing. It's generally a big pivot, like you can see up here, down here. So I wait for those bars. And if I can't get it, then there's going to be something else that has that pattern that I could feel a little bit more comfortable with trading.
Let's real quick, just for anybody who's just getting into the show here real quick, can you just very briefly touch on what the different candle patterns are?
Yeah, sure. All right. So basically here I have, yellow bars and white bars. So yellow bars are inside bars, white bars are outside bars. And then the combination of them create the Holy Grail, which is an outside and an inside, or a Nirvana, which is the reverse, inside, outside. And the double inside is just two consecutive inside bars. All these patterns mean on a high level is a form of consolidation. It's a form of trapping. It's a form of killing option premiums. And that's why I like waiting for those patterns so that I can make sure that when I get into the trade, I'm getting a good deal.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. All right, let's keep moving here. We're going to go to the next round. AMD.
Yes, I was waiting for this one. I was waiting for this one. I knew somebody would bring this up. All right. So AMD. So this is a perfect example. So let me just go quickly to the Twitter here. So AMD. So this is, some of the work that I do on Twitter here. So this was posted on the weekend. We had this inside bar, right? And we have it right here, same inside bar setup. So this is exactly what I love doing. So I waited for this inside bar to pop up on the weekly. And I did the same thing we just talked about. I used that breakout method. So we broke here. And the easiest way to get in, actually, if I go down to a 5-minute chart, we had this opening range breakout today. So here's your first 5-minute bar right there. So this was your early entry into AMD. And I think these calls are up like 200 or 300% right now. And it all started from just understanding what's happening on the weekly. So for example, we knew there was an inside bar. What's likely to happen after an inside bar? Well, we're likely to break up and we're likely to just make a bigger move because this whole week we were consolidating, we were trapping people, we were killing option premiums. And if we just look at the past, we could see here and here, like this one was a fake out, but this one we had a great push. So literally just trying to repeat history. And when we're right, we're going to make good money. And when we're wrong, we're just risking a bar. Right. So that's the strategy behind it as well. It's not always about being right, but when you're right, you got to make sure you're making good money. And these bars allow you to do it because it makes sure that you're coming in with a good price. So like if you were to chase, a big bar, like let's say you were to chase it now, you've already missed the move. Right. But when I have this inside bar, I know it's 1 week of staying inside of the previous week. So that's telling me that anybody that bought contracts in that week are their contract price has been decayed because it didn't make the move it was supposed to right away. And that's how you make sure you get a good deal.
How are you? I know that you're buying these breaks. How are you managing your position if it goes against you? Are you setting stops? Are you just getting out if you feel like it's going to turn? How are you doing that?
So with shares, I have stop losses. So some of these trades I do shares. With options, I generally don't have a stop loss, so I go full risk. So like this play right here, I'll do 1 to 2 weeks out, full risk, meaning that it's either going to go to zero or I'm going to double or triple my money. That's the way that I trade options on swings. It's just easier to manage that way because if you do try to micromanage it with a stop loss, a lot of the times you're going to get poked out and then it'll actually go in your direction after.
Got it. Do you have a preferred time frame that you're trading on if you're just day trading?
Oh, so day trading for me is always going to be on the 3-minute, the 5, and the 15. Mainly these days, it's just the 3 and the 5-minute. I usually day trade the first hour of the day. And I look for, like, for example, here's just a beauty of an opening range breakout on AMD. First candle, bam, that's it. And I'll be done. When I swing trade, I start off with the weekly and I run my scans on a weekly basis. with TrendSpider. I run my raindrop scans and then my scans for my patterns. And then once I have that established, I can automate this order. So I can say, all right, AMD long above 102, and then just buy me calls. So you could do conditional orders in your broker. Or if I want to hit it a little bit harder, I'll use the weekly time frame and then day trade it. And I'll come down to like the 5 minute here or the 3 minute and look for an early entry.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Let's keep on moving here. Next round. Going to PayPal.
PayPal. Yes, so PayPal, I'm very familiar with this one. I've been trading it for a long time. So PayPal, very interesting today. PayPal was up, I think 6 or 7% on the day. It really outperformed today. It was really interesting to see that. If we go back here to the weekly, you can see that basically all of these outside bars were earnings related. And after them, we just sold off every single time. It's actually pretty scary. If we look at here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outside bars in a row where we just broke the low and that's it. So that's why I love these patterns, because when they work, you can make a lot of money. Like you could have caught the top of PayPal here with this short. So right now I'm kind of like in a no trade zone with PayPal, just because if you look at these candle sizes, they're so tiny compared to these bigger bars. So what that means to me is that, we could get a big bar soon, and I'd rather wait for that bar, maybe another outside bar setup like this in order to take the trade. We did have PayPal as one of our trade setups for today with the outside bar that happened yesterday. And I didn't take that trade though, but I think if you took an orb here, let's take a look. Pretty much the whole flavor of the market today was the orbs. So yeah, if you took that orb on PayPal, that would have been an easy way to get in. And just to high level it again. So we have an outside bar on the daily. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're trying to make a move tomorrow. You just look at all the white bars, and generally after them, we do have some kind of conclusion, some kind of next leg. So that's exactly what we're trying to do, and just let history repeat itself. If we're wrong, we take our loss. And if we're right, we're trying to make at least double our losers. If we make double our losers, we only need 34% win rate to make money. So that's the other part of trading that people need to learn too, is just risk management, money management in general.
Do you, when you're getting out of trades, are you scaling out? Are you all in, all out? How does that work?
It's a mix. I like to use Fibonacci's targets as my scale outs. So for example, let's go down to the 5 minute here for PayPal. So something that I would do is take the Fibonacci of the previous day's range. So let me go low to, oops, I keep clicking the wrong one. So let me go here, low to high, low to high. So these targets here, 272s, 50s, these and 0, which is the previous day's high. I use these as my targets. And if I'm day trading, I will just close it at the close. So like right here at the end of the day, I'd never turn a day trade into a swing trade unless I'm up a lot and it's options, and then I can just roll over a portion. But with shares, I never hold those shares, because if we do gap down, for example, and you have a lot of shares, you can get trapped. And that's actually happened to me before. So I have my own personal rule that I don't do that anymore.
Got it. All right, cool. So PayPal's kind of in the no touch zone until it starts proving itself a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did do a little cheap ad. I used a fib and I added around, I think it was 73 something. I feel pretty nice about that. 7306, I think it was. But it was just kind of something for a little bit of a longer term account. So that's like a completely different strategy, because I have some tax-free accounts where I just put 5, 10K, throw it in names that I see that are on 6 or 7 days red. So any name that I see that is on a big red streak that I believe in the product, I'm always willing to buy. And that's kind of like a different way of trading. It's not really a day trade or swing trade. It's more like a long-term approach, but that is something that I do also.
Like a more fundamental approach.
Yeah. More like, you know what, I'm putting this aside for 10 or 20 years and I'm not going to look at it.
Got it. That makes sense. All right, let's keep moving here. Next round, Qualcomm, QCOM.
Yeah. This name used to fly a lot, and we traded it many, many times for Lotto Fridays and the good old days. So QCOM, we had an inside bar yesterday, and same thing here. If I go down to the 5, we could see it clearly. So here's our high right up here. We had our nice clean breakout and then a nice push. So for me, the trade was today. And I'm not going to go and chase it into tomorrow because the opportunity was today. But if I go to the weekly here and the monthly, just looking for maybe some longer term plays. So the month is only a few days in, but if this were to close at the end of this month with an inside candle, then that would be a multi-month play that I would look at. So for example, if we get something like this or something like this, but otherwise than that, I won't chase because I know the play already happened. And a lot of the times if you do chase, sometimes you just go sideways or you even get faded. And because the calls will be really inflated tomorrow, it's not a good risk reward.
Right. Okay, awesome. Let's keep moving then. Adobe, ADBE.
All right. So
very similar look.
Yeah, a lot of these techs are probably doing a similar look here. So let me go to the monthly here. So another view I like to do is go to these raindrops, which I use a lot. And what I like to do with this is a raindrop for me is like another consolidation pattern. That's the way that I treat it. So if I do find a raindrop on like a daily here, I will be willing to take it, but I don't see anything right now. So this one very similar to QCOM. I would just kind of wait for a pattern in order to take a good trade here. And the last one we had was this outside bar here, which was kind of a fake out. So if I look back on this name Adobe, I would pretty much say that it doesn't work that well with the patterns that I have. And some names are going to do that. So it's also important that you kind of have an idea, look back and see like, do these patterns actually work? Because not all stocks are created equal.
Right. Are there specific raindrop patterns that you like to look for?
Yeah. So daily blue raindrops are my go-to. If I find those, we had Nike yesterday. So if I remember, yep. So we had this blue raindrop here with Nike. So the way that I trade these blue raindrops is I treat them just like I treat inside bars. So I just take the break. So I look for them because, that it's another way of me finding a consolidating stock. And same thing. So we have our blue raindrop, we take our break above, and this one was a nice little home run trade as well.
Yeah, for anybody who is not familiar with the raindrop candles, a blue raindrop is raindrops are volume weighted. So the left-hand side and the right-hand side essentially have a VWAP. And on a blue raindrop, the VWAP is at the same place on either side. So it's kind of like a volume weighted average price is at the same place on either side of the candle. So it's kind of like a consolidation candle in that way.
Exactly.
It's a good reversal candle.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, basically at the open to the close, the volume is stuck in the middle of the candle. So someone is going to get trapped tomorrow, especially if we start to break out, because the buyers and the sellers are both, some are going long, some are going short, and we're kind of in balance. And then the next day, if we move up and we break the high, now all the shorts that were in this candle need to cover, and then we can get a candle like this. So This is like the perfect scenario.
So you knew that Nike had a blue raindrop yesterday. Do you watch Nike regularly, or are you using the scanner to find these names?
Yeah, I'm using the scanner. So right here, market scanner. So I have my patterns here as well as the blue raindrop, and I scan these actually on my live stream every day. And I just share it with the community of what I'm looking at for tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Right on. That's awesome. And just out of curiosity, your live stream can anybody join that, or is it like how does the live stream work?
Every day at 9 p.m. on YouTube, Trading Warz. I have my own show where I go through all of my trades. I look at my P&L and I do scans at the end. I use TrendSpider here to scan for my patterns as well as blue raindrops. And then I post them on Twitter. Like every day I have, 10 or 15 free picks that I post. So that's kind of like my routine is I try to make sure that I prove myself to people first before they look into my material. So I always get free picks. And, like I was saying today, AMD was the one that hit from the weekend. And then I also gave SPY today. I gave a call out in the afternoon on Twitter, just saying, hey, I think we're into a bear trap today and I'm going to get long. So, like for me today, it was close to like a $5,000 a day. And those for my account size, that's a good day. And I also have the futures contracts that I told you about earlier. So just really I have a routine where in the night you'll get all the picks, and then the next day you'll get the commentary and then the video recap, and then we just keep continuing the process over and over again.
Awesome, man. Well, so anybody who's watching, if you're interested in seeing how Rich uses the scanner, definitely tune in to his show every night. Let's keep on moving here to the next round. We've got XLE, big name.
Yep. So yeah, so I don't really follow energy that much, but I will say here that this is an extremely rare pattern on the daily. So let me just change these candles over. We have that double inside bar. So I'm trying to look for the last time we had one of those. I don't even think we had one on recent times. Yeah, so nothing that I see.
Interesting.
So very, very rare pattern here. So the way that we could trade this again is we could go ahead and just take the break of the bar. So here's your bar, or we can go down to the 5-minute candlesticks in the morning and just look for that opening range breakout. And if you look at the chart, right, you could see this is how a double inside bar looks, right? It's just a really tight range. And it's a great opportunity because it's, you know, killing option premiums, it's trapping people. So there's people that are long here, there's people that are short here, and the conclusion of this pattern can lead to a big move. So that's a nice pick there, something I'll add to my watch list to look at. I don't remember ever seeing a double inside on this, so could be potentially a top here, or we could definitely squeeze higher if we start to push through these wicks and maybe push into all-time highs.
It'd be cool to back test it. We could totally run that back test. I mean, not here on the show, but maybe in your 9 o'clock session, run the back test and see how many times XLE's had a double inside. Looks like there's one there September 20th, September 2020. September. Or like in between August and September 2020, right there. Yeah.
There's one here and then there's one here. And it looks
both
like
big gap downs.
Yeah, both big gap downs. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, interesting. Yeah. That's, you know, and I always tell new traders, just focus on the patterns that are a little bit more rare. So, you know, like the holy grails, the doubles, the nirvanas, because you want to have an edge where you want to come in, you want to know what your pattern can do, and you want to trade that. If you trade every single bar, you're going to realize soon that all of these bars have different attributes and different personalities. And if you don't understand what they're more likely to do the next day, you can get trapped and you can overtrade. And I think overtrading is probably the number one reason why new traders don't succeed.
For sure. I could agree with that 100%. Happened to me too. Let's keep on moving then. Next round is Apple.
Apple, beautiful. So Apple, we are swing trading Apple right now. So it started off on the weekly. We had that inside bar, so very similar to AMD. So we just got long, I have the price over here. So right around 149, we got long this week. So this one I'm looking for, I have 2 weeks out expiry on the contracts. So just believe in here that this inside bar can take us back up, you know, maybe to the 160 levels at least. And already in a position right there right now. If I go to the daily chart here, so nothing of interest. The last time that it did pop up was this Nirvana, which I shared. I scanned this actually live on stream and posted this one. So that's what I like doing. I really like waiting for those patterns, those edges. And if I don't see them, then it's not worth my time because I know that I'm kind of just doing something blindly.
Yeah. So for the for somebody who's not in this trade yet, what would be the trigger here? It doesn't look like there is a one of your patterns setting up yet.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've already gotten long from this trigger on the weekly. So I don't recommend anybody chasing. What you could do is go down to like an hourly chart and look for a pattern formation. Like you see, we had a holy grail back on the 31st, we had a Nirvana back there. So tomorrow, while everything is trading live, you can go down to your hourly, your 15-minute chart, your 5-minute, and just wait to get your patterns. And once you get your pattern, you can trade it when you see it, rather than just trying to get in without a defined plan. Because with the pattern, it's very simple. You take the breakout, you put the stop loss on the other side. So if it doesn't work, you're protected, you know where your stop loss needs to be. But if you get in just because you want to get in, then it's like, well, where's my stop loss? Or all of a sudden you're bag holding something, or all of a sudden you're averaging down. And then that becomes a horrible trade.
You said take the breakout and put your stop loss on the other side. What is the other side? You mean just the other side of the candle, the bottom of the
Yeah, the
candle?
other side of the candle, exactly. So let's take this inside bar down here. So if you took this right here, this long, then you would put your stop loss right at the bottom of the bar. And
Right.
then once you start to get some targets, then I recommend getting to break even. So, if you get a big body bar like this, then I would just trail from here onto under this bar and then use the Fibonacci's on the way up as your targets.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Let's keep moving then. FUTU, FUTU. Haven't looked at this name in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either. So let's see. So let's go ahead.
I know the Chinese names have been working pretty well this week, though.
Yeah, so this one is actually the same pattern as the Qs. We have a double outside bar. So same thing here, looking for the break, or tomorrow right away on the 5 or 3 minute chart, just go ahead and take an opening range breakout. So I would expect this to move kind of similar to how the Qs move tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, good opportunities. You could see these double outside bars, another kind of very rare pattern. Don't think I see one here in recent look here. Nope. So whenever we get those rare patterns, I'm always willing to take a shot at it, because you never know what can come off of these. And I especially like this one because we're kind of at the top of this range here, where we have this whole block of previous resistance. So if we do start to take off and we start to break through, we could get through these areas here, and that could potentially be a bigger squeeze. Or if we start to reject, this is also a good opportunity to start looking for some shorts.
Right. And if you were looking for shorts, again, you would be looking for a break below the low of that candle. Yeah.
Yeah. So right here, like 35.50,
Right.
nice psychological whole number right there. I will be watching that level tomorrow. As long as that level doesn't get taken out, then I wouldn't do anything. I would just be waiting for either side. So unless you want to go ahead and hit an orb, and the orb is always an easy one because you just take it on that first candle, and it's either going to be a big play like this, like you could see the orb today was just a huge runner, or you're going to get stopped out. And that's okay. I always tell people with the orb, give it a shot with small size, and if you get it and you hit like something like today, you could easily make 100 or 200% on options.
Right, for sure. All right, let's keep on going then. Next round, Amazon.
All right. So Amazon, let's start off with the bigger time frames here. I'm going to go all the way to the monthly. So Amazon here, we had this Nirvana near the top, and then we kind of sold off from there. That monthly bar is still developing. We have this weekly here, and I've been watching Amazon for a while, and the last time it really piqued my attention was with that outside bar again. It really seems like these outside bars on the weekly chart are like really major pivots a lot of the times. And we had that big, sell off from there. And then obviously there was a little bit of negative earnings. Right now, we have a really nice outside bar on the daily. And this would be a great Lotto Friday play for sure. And I think if we do start to turn the corner here, we have room to fill this gap all the way up to, close to 2,800. And if we do start to turn around here, we have support all the way back down in the 2000s. So nice play the bar or hit the opening range breakout right at the open.
It just occurred to me that you have all of your charts set to log scale. Is there any particular reason why?
No, that doesn't, I just do it so that it looks better. It gets a nice flow. Yeah. Cause sometimes when I move around like this, I want to get back to everything being even. So I just hit the log. But for me, the only thing that matters is the price levels themselves.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So we're looking for a break above or below there, that open or that that outside
so
bar.
I guess why don't we take a second here and just like analyze this one. So if
let's
show people how it'll go. So if I go to the 5 minute chart here, so what I would do is we can just have a line for our low, which was right around here, and then we can have a line for our high, which is right there. So this is the range that we're playing off of. It's like a box, right? And we know that this is an outside bar. We can see it because we broke the previous day's low and the previous day's high. It wasn't by much, but it was enough to create an outside bar. And if we just think about the psychology here, for any traders that went short on the break of this low, thinking that it was going to flush, they're trapped, right? And also we have, people buying the breakout. So we have a mixture of traders here. That's why these patterns really excite me because I'm like, all right, we have a combination of traders that are trapped, traders that are FOMOing. So tomorrow, let's say, we open, somewhere in the middle like this, then this could be your first bar right here. I would just hit an orb right away and just give it a shot. If it doesn't work, like I say, put the stop loss on the other side, stop out. And from there, I would just be watching the edges here. So I would be looking right around here. So 25, so 2,500 even, we could do that just as a psychological number. So long above 2,500. And then for the short side down somewhere down here, 24.15 looks good, and just play off of those. So if we pierce through, I'll be looking immediately to see if we can break this high and continue higher, especially it being Friday. Friday is a very volatile day, and that's how you can get some of those big wins.
Something just occurred to me here too. Are you setting alerts at all these levels like beforehand? Or
Yeah,
are you just popping
so
through charts all day?
yeah, no, I have alerts set up, but for the ones that I will like automate, like after tonight, I'll go back into my broker and I'll put the orders in. I'll just actually put it in. So you
Ah,
can do
got
that
it.
with options, and you can do it with shares. So I could say, look, if Amazon breaks 2,500, buy me X amount of shares, or if it breaks 2,500, buy me the 2,500 calls.
Right.
So you could set that up in the broker, and just let it do its thing. So it depends. Like for me, I love to just focus on the SPY and the Qs in the morning, like live trading. And then the stocks, I love having them a little bit more automated, so I'm balanced, because sometimes the automation will be better than you trying to trade on the chart and making mistakes here and there. And then sometimes it's better when you are taking orbs and patterns that you have to wait for, like holy grails and nirvana. So when I have a balance, I feel a little bit more like I'm covered. Whatever happens, I have a fair shot.
Okay, cool. Let's keep moving. Next round, NVDA.
Great. So NVIDIA, I know we had a raindrop on it recently. So, because I remember I scanned it earlier in the week. So let's go to the daily here and let me pull up the raindrop. So, yep. So we had this raindrop a few days back. So this one broke to the downside first and then started to pick up some steam. I really like NVIDIA on the weekly. Those raindrops have been money. I've played all of these and done pretty well on each of them with options. So right now, just if I were to, look at the weeklies and the monthlies, I love just waiting for raindrops on NVIDIA. And I just feel like every time I trade one with a raindrop, I make money. So personally, right now, I would just be waiting for a setup with a raindrop in particular for this name. And I don't see anything right now. But I definitely think these names are going to move as the Qs move. So tomorrow we have that double outside bar on the Qs. And if we break to the upside and push, all of these names will move as well.
And when you say you're looking for a raindrop, you're specifically referring to a blue raindrop, yeah?
Yeah, blue. Yeah, that's what I mean. I only trade the blue raindrops. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Next round, World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE.
Wow. This was one of the first stocks I bought a long time ago. So I guess someone knows that I'm a wrestling fan here. So let's see. I haven't traded this one in a long time. And the reason is because I feel like it started to get really manipulated. And when I say that, if you look at these long wicks and, these crazy kind of candles and this chop, eventually I was just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth my time to play this one. But I will say here, it definitely looks like we're in a long-term consolidation pattern here. If you look on the monthly, you could see it a little bit better here. We're just kind of, in this tightening range, just tightening up. We did have that nirvana on the monthly. So this is actually an opportunity. If you want to play long, the trigger has already broken. Keep your stop loss on the low of this white bar here and playing for the potential for this to start to turn the corner and break into new highs. That's the only play that I see right now that makes sense to me.
I keep on forgetting to ask you, and while it's on my brain, what is the significance of the bands that are around? I know that it's a 20 SMA. Tell us about how you utilize those bands too.
So the bands, from a day trading perspective, I don't use them. I use
Okay.
them on the monthlies and the weeklies just to get a sense of where we are in the bands. For example, if you want to have a bias trading, so if we have patterns at the bottom of the band, you can have a bullish bias because you can say, hey, the lower band is going to act as support. If we have patterns at the top of the band, you can go ahead and use that and say, hey, I want to short this only. So on certain stocks, I will have a bias and I'll be like, so for example, with AMD, I was only looking to go long, period. That's it. So there's certain names that I will have a bias on, and the bands just help me to understand where we are. If we're like, for example, if we're up here on the top of the band and we get an inside bar on WWE, I wouldn't be taking calls or looking long just because I know that it generally snaps back. This is one of those that snap back and forth between the bands.
Gotcha. And is there any specific significance to why you're using a 20 SMA, both the length and the SMA or the moving average style?
So if we go to index here, so the reason I use that is just because I've noticed from trading these years, especially on the larger time frames, that 20 SMA does act as a trending support. So trending meaning when we are in an uptrend, we won't even dip to the lower band. We'll just hug this, we'll tap it. And I use those for longer term ads for my long-term portfolios. I use this mid 20 SMA to add, shares or future contracts, or even long-term options to my longer term portfolios. But it's just something that I've used it forever. And if I don't have it on my chart now, I just feel weird. That's another reason.
That makes sense. I get that. So, I mean, you're talking about long term, you're feeling really good about SPY here. We've got that looming 20 SMA on the monthly, or either on the weekly here at that FID level 430. Does that concern you?
Yeah, I definitely think the Bears are gonna try there.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're gonna give up without a fight.
Yeah.
But if we go to the monthly here, you could see that we're actually hugging it on the monthly. So
Right.
that's another reason why I was pretty inclined on going long there as well, because you could see that when we start the trend here, you really use it as support a lot.
Right.
Oh, that's what I was looking at there. But yeah, no, I definitely think that there's going to be an attempt there. There's going to be a try here by the Bears, and I'll be trying too. So like I
Yeah.
said, I mean,
Right.
I'm going to take my hedges and see where they go. And sometimes you can make money both ways. You just you just have to put it down to risk to reward on a piece of paper. So, if you're up, let's say $5,000 on your calls, you can put in $1,000 on puts as a form of insurance, right? So you're like rolling the gains that you made on your position into some insurance to protect you. And that's something that I wish I knew a long time ago, because I feel like if I did that a little bit more, I would have protected my portfolio a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Right on. Okay, cool. So we've got like 7 or so minutes left. Let's jam through some of these as quickly as we can. Next
Okay.
round is DDOG.
Yep, DDOG. I traded this one a lot. Back in the day here with these weekly inside bars, we used to hammer them. Right now, don't see anything on the weekly. Let's go to the monthly. That's still forming, but this I love when we have a forming inside bar that's this big, because for me, I treat this as a power play. So what I mean by that is, if I look at this chart and I see, all right, DDOG right now is at 110. What if we were to come back down to 95 or 96 or $97, right around here? Now, everyone that got long up here at 110 is going to be in trouble. So I love, even though the bar is not closed yet, I could come in here and take this short if we were to come back down here. And the way that I do it was just put an order in the broker. I leave it at good to cancel, so that it'll always be there. And whenever it triggers, it triggers. So, and those are like, little lotto plays that I like to leave. If we go to the daily, let's see if we have anything here. Nope, but we had this outside bar at the bottom that had this huge pop up. So I would just be waiting here. Like big candles like this, it's a little bit hard to make money on them after the fact, because the premiums are going to be extremely high.
Yeah. Okay, so we're sitting on our hands with DDOG. Maybe let that consolidate for a day or two.
Yep.
Cool. Next round, shop.
All
Yep.
right. Perfect. Yeah. So let's go down to the weekly here. Let's see what we have. So this one reminds me exactly like PayPal. The chart is almost very, very similar. It was a dramatic drop from all-time highs. So weekly, daily. So the outside bar, it was the same thing. It's literally the same thing. PayPal had an outside bar, and then the candle was exactly the same thing. So for me, if I were to trade between the two, PayPal or Shop, I would probably lean more towards PayPal, just because I think it's a little bit more cleaner to trade. Right now for Shop, what I would do is just keep going down here, and like this is like a telltale sign for me that I don't want to be a part of this. So if I go to like a 4 hour and I see many, many inside bars, many, many nirvanas, many holy grails, like you look at this, for example, this is just chop. That's all. It's like literally going sideways. So that is a no-no for me, because I know that if I'm trying to look for momentum, and if I don't get that momentum, I'd rather trade something else. So this one would be a pass for me for sure.
Real quick, someone just asked, when you take an opening range breakout play, how much time do you give it? I'm not sure if that means how long you're in the trade or how long you give the trade to work, but
yeah. So I always just have the stop loss and the target. So within the first 10 minutes, you're going to know pretty quickly if you're right or wrong with an opening range breakout, because usually you're going to either get stopped out or it's going to start to flush right away. And once it starts flushing, I use the Fibonacci's for my targets, and then I just trail that stop loss, get it lower and lower and lower until I can get to break even. Once I get to break even, I feel comfortable just letting it run. So if I always try to leave a runner, and that runner is, if I can get that, let's say I caught the high of the day with an opening range breakout and that could run into the close. Like I've done that a few times on SPY. Those can be huge, huge, like 500% plus gainers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Those 0 DTE contracts go crazy sometimes.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's keep on moving here. We only got a few minutes left, and we're going to do Square, SQ.
I tried this one the other day off of this inside bar, and it was great to the downside. It was a day trade, made some good money. So Square, same thing again, another inside bar setup. We'll be willing to play it again. So the same way. This one, I did an automated trigger trade. So I just put my short level and my long level, and I just played that. I got filled on my short, hit my target. So tomorrow, do the same thing. So have our long and our short trigger, and play off of that bar. And I think at some point here, Square is going to come to a conclusion, because we've been going back and forth for a while now. And the more we go back and forth, eventually we have to have a climax. And this could be the bar that's that next climax for this name, and to take it either higher or lower.
Yeah, right. Looks like a potentially bearish little setup forming, but I guess we'll see as the time goes. Next round, let's jam it. BAC, Bank of America.
Yes. So BAC, what I like to do generally is when I'm doing automated trades, I want to have a wide range of sectors. So, the financial sectors, I always look at them for potential setups. I haven't been seeing any recently. Like you can see here on the weekly and the daily, we've kind of been going back and forth. The last inside bar we had on the 24th was a great play. It was a nice run. But right now, nothing really that interests me. Let's go to the 4 hour. So let's see here, nothing there. Go down to the hourly. Let's see. Yeah. So tomorrow, what I would do is, if you really want to trade this name, I would look at the hourly chart and look for one of these patterns. So wait for a holy grail, wait for a nirvana, wait for an inside bar, wait for something where okay, I'm risking 1 bar. So if I'm wrong, I'll take my stop loss when the bar breaks and I'll move on. Otherwise, I feel like it's just too subjective. You could say anything. You could look at this and be like, well, it's in a flag, it's in a downtrend, it's a double bottom, it's this and that. And I prefer, especially new traders, stick to the bars and keep it simple.
Got it. All right, man. Last one here. W, Wayfair.
W. I don't even know what this is. I've never traded this.
This is they make furniture. It's like a direct to your house furniture type place. No stores. I don't think they have stores. Ooh,
so this is good, because if I've never seen a stock, this is normally what I would do. So I'll go out to the monthly and just look at, all right, the bigger picture. And the bigger picture to me is, this is pretty much like a shit show here. I mean, we went all the way up to 360 and back down here. So when I see stuff like that, I personally would just pass, just because there's better things to trade. There's the Qs, there's a SPY, there's, AMD making moves. So sometimes these ones, are a little bit maybe news driven or earnings driven. And because of that, it's not really the best choice for day trading. And another thing that I would do is check the daily volume traded for shares. If it's not above 1 million, I wouldn't really recommend it because to day trade it, because it'll be hard. It'll be hard for you to get good moves. So that's kind of something that I do. And actually in the scanners that I have with TrendSpider, I have a volume criteria, usually 1 million shares. So that's something that I guess not, it's a little bit forgotten, but you need to have good volume in order to make these good moves. That's why the indexes are always, they're always the best because they have a lot of volume.
Right. Well, Rich, man, thank you so much for your time this evening. I know you've got to get to your 9 p.m. event here. So if anybody's tuning in, wants to continue their time with Rich, please follow him to his next YouTube presentation. Yeah, go ahead and link them. Show them where they're going to be.
Right here, guys. Yeah, right on Twitter right here. So just click on that. We're going to talk about the AMD swing. I'm going to give you guys step-by-step, walk you through. Then we'll run our scans tonight. We'll run our scans on TrendSpider. We'll look for our blue raindrops. We'll get ready to go for Lotto Friday. And it's been 49, I think 9 days in a row green now. So just want to end off with a bang. I want to end off with a big bang on this Friday. So come join me if you guys have the time. And thank you again for having me. And I really hope that these indicators, like the purpose of it is to simplify trading for people. Wait for a pattern, trade the pattern. Don't force something. Don't get caught up in the news. Don't get FOMO. If you don't have a pattern, then you don't trade it. And I think that'll help, a lot of new traders dealing with over trading issues, dealing with the trading psychology, things like that. I think will really help you to stay disciplined.
For sure. Well, Rich, again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you are maybe a new customer, maybe you signed up with the Memorial Day deal, welcome to the platform. We're so happy to have you on. If you are on the sidelines still, we've got Rich's 25% discount coupon available for all the plans. So hit us up in the YouTube chat. Sadie will help you out. Thank you again for being here. Our next event is next Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing a trade ideas Twitter space on our Twitter page. We're going to have Honeydew, Kess Investing, Trade Out Loud, and Stock Swing Alerts. So join us for that, and we will see you all next time. Have a great evening and a great weekend.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you, Rich.